So when I postulated that John Dutton might be the next person to die in the film, I didn't know that I would be both right and wrong at the same time.
That's a fair point.
It was,
John Dutton did die.
rip John Dutton.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
he had a beautiful life. Talking, of course, about the season 5 premiere of Yellowstone. This is a 2-part premiere, 2-hour premiere. So the first 2 episodes, of course.
Tears is how I feel.
Your tears are joy, Daddy.
Well, joy ain't what I'm feeling.
I was hyped for this. I know you were hyped for it. We'd been looking forward to this. Did it live up to our hype? Let's talk about it and find out. I know you had some problems with it.
Yeah, and I've watched it twice. And I got some time to think about it, and I took some notes. I guess some of my complaints, because we kind of talked about it when we watched it,
Yeah.
aren't as bad as I initially kind of had problems with, but I had to sit back and remember that this is basically a westernized soap opera. So some of the storyboarding that happens to make things happen can be overly dramatic or even cheesy at times. But so for example, like the car accident scene, like
Right.
this is like, okay, you set it up. You have a frantic mom who's she's in pain. She's about to have birth. Her kid's in the next seat. He's scared. She's driving fast and swerving. Like, all right, well, this is, obviously they're setting up something bad to happen. Buffalo walks in the road, and then you see the guy in the truck, not paying attention, cruising down the road. Like that was, I don't know. Some of the scenes and how they're set up, it is frustrating for me, but I get,
That's writing you have a gripe with, my friend, unfortunately.
right. But again, the dialogue and some of the character acting is good. So some of it's great and some of it's a little frustrating for me, but I loved the show. Great
All right.
start.
The season opens up as as we know it would, with John Dutton preparing to take on the role of the governor of the great state of Montana. The first episode specifically is like just very much that. It's him sort of getting sworn in.
We pick up right when we left off. Like he won the election and he's about to go out and give his victory speech.
Yeah. So the bulk of this episode, the first episode specifically, is about John getting sworn in and taking office and the trepidation that he feels for doing that. I think he very much regrets having to have done that on his own. If you remember, the plan was always for Jamie to become the governor. That was Jamie's plan.
Until he betrayed the family.
Yep, that was the former governor's plan. But as you said, he betrayed the family, and John feels like he can't trust him. So John decides, well, I guess I got to take matters into my own hands, and I'll be the fucking governor. And as governor, he's trying to, rather than influence the politics of the state, he's just going to do the politics of the state.
Well,
right?
he has to, because up until now, the Duttons have basically only controlled the executive branch. John was, banging the governor. He was the livestock commissioner.
Yep.
So they had, lots of power in the executive branch. And he, being the livestock commissioner, dealing with the courts stuff, I'm sure he also had a lot of sway with the judicial, the judicial side of things.
Right.
What we're doing now is he's figuring out how to get things done legislatively, because everything he's had so far is not enough. The executive isn't enough. He needs the legislature, and he's learning how to do that.
And we see he's struggling to figure that out, because he's coming in there with an iron fist, and he's like, nope, signing executive orders. This is how it's going to be. Mm-hmm. And the previous governor is trying to tell him, like, and Jamie's trying to tell him too, like, listen, this is not how things work.
Protecting you now is how Montana still looks like Montana, when none of us here tonight are here to see it. Thank you.
A lot of glad handing.
Yeah.
A lot of glad handing.
Like, this is not how things work. You need people on your side, because otherwise come 4 years from now, like, you're out of here. And during this time, whether you run again or not, you're going to lose all the people that supported you.
Yep.
And you're going to get nothing done. And you're only going to create more enemies for yourself and more problems for yourself. And in certain cases, lawsuits and shit involving one of the largest financial institutions in the country, according to this show. I think we're going to see John spread way too thin during this season. And I think this is going to be an
Rip sees it.
Yeah, Rip sees it, which is cool. Now, I said it quite a few times last night, jumping ahead to episode 2, and episode 1 and 2 were pretty much kind of the same narrative. It was just one long inauguration event, basically. And it really dominated these first 2 episodes, almost to a negative point in certain regards. They set up some other stuff with some of the other characters, which we'll talk about. But just getting through all this like inauguration stuff, it seems pretty clear to me that we're now going to see John, not just John, but the Dutton family in a position that we haven't really ever seen them in before. And what is this show about? This show is about John Dutton basically trying to keep his land his own by any means necessary. And we've seen that come in different shapes and sizes. We've seen real estate investors coming in and him kind of battling with them. We've seen a fucking hit squad.
First it was the golf course.
Yeah. Golf course, and then it's a resort, and then it's a fucking now it's like an airport and a casino and all this shit. We've seen a fucking
city.
We've seen a hit squad come after him and the family. We've seen all that stuff, and they've always prevailed. Now, what I'm curious about is, again, this seems to me very clear that he's stretching himself a little bit too thin. And you see often in these 2 episodes, he's regretful that he has to even become the governor. And he still wants to very much be involved in the day-to-day operations of the ranch.
At the ranch.
Yeah. You know, he goes out of his way to stay there a couple times. He's asking, Rip, who's now taken over the ranch in his stead, like, what's going on? He's playing catch up. And he can't have feet in both arenas. And that's what people are trying to tell him. That's what Linnell is trying to tell him. That's what Jamie's trying to tell him. And I'll be honest with you, it's really Beth who's sort of the fucking devil on his shoulder, chirping in his ear, giving him bad advice, in my opinion, because she's kind of like motivating all of this in him. But even still, there was that moment where even she is like, whoa, what you're doing, like this week we'll lose the ranch.
What we're discovering is he made a promise to his father that he would never sell it.
It's a promise that has been passed down from generation to generation of Dutton, stemming back to what's his name's character from 1883. The big point of that show was where she dies is where we stay. That's where we're going to stake our land. And that's where she died, right? So
so he's coming to the realization that even if he's able to hold on to it, he knows his kids won't. And so he's looking for other ways, and this might be a way to keep the land together, keep the legacy there, and not break it up and turn it into,
So he thinks.
Bozeman. Doesn't want to be a Bozeman.
He's got this like really powerful organization sort of bearing down on him that he essentially just slapped across the face, despite Jamie's wisdom in the matter. He signed an executive order basically reversing the deal that was struck with this company to come in and build up some land and stuff like that.
You could be a really good leader, John, but you're a shitty politician because you won't play the game. But if you don't play the game plays you.
Either one of 2 things are going to happen. It's going to work out in their favor, and then I would say the show has gotten a little bit stale. Or everything's going to get flipped onto its head, and it's not really going to work out the way that they want to, or the way John wants to, and it's going to be his fault. And it's going to be his. I think so. I think it's going to be him and Beth's fault. Now, for me, I don't know how you feel about this, but honestly, all the other storylines in this show are the reason that I watch it. I kind of don't give a shit anymore about like all the people trying to take the Dutton land, really.
Well, I mean, we haven't really seen a whole, like the show started, it was, John and Thomas Rainwater. They're kind of the 2 big characters. And then you have the guy that's building the golf course kind of an irrelevant little mini boss thing. But
Yeah, right.
him and Thomas have kind of been forced to fight on the same side because they're both fighting against the invasion of what they call this progress.
Mm-hmm.
So I think eventually, like, one of them is going to have to betray the other one. And I think Thomas is going to take advantage of something, like maybe turning land into conservatory or whatever. He can maybe try and get the state or the federal government to release that land to the Indian tribe.
Well, I'm a little confused about Thomas.
I think we get some betrayal. Yeah. He hasn't really, I mean, he's just kind of lingered around a little bit and helped out, but he
plays both sides of the fence.
Their ideals align, and they've been pretty much aligned against some of the opponents.
Well, they did, but now I feel like based on what this guy's doing, it doesn't seem to align with what he's showcased throughout the series so far, because he seemed like he was like, hey, this is our land. My people are from here. We want it back. Your family took this over. That was very much the fight. It was like the white man took over the land from the Native Americans, rightfully so. And we found out,
that's what's going to boil back up. But
we found out through little bits of information that, like, the Duttons had a deal with these Native Americans because Dutton's father allowed them to bury their dead there because it was sacred land. So there's something going on, and I don't understand why we're not really, like, learning more about that just yet. I mean, maybe we will, and I'm jumping the gun there, but I don't know. Rainwater kind of seems like he doesn't give a fuck about the land anymore. It seems like he's more trying to just, like, profit, still for his people, but at the cost of at the expense of the land itself. There are people in the state, politicians in the state as well, that support market equities coming in and doing their real estate shit because it's going to drive up revenue for the state. It's going to reduce taxes and all this stuff.
The development will bring in tax revenue.
Yeah, and John is trying to sort of look for alternative means. Yeah,
he claims he has alternative solutions.
Right,
we'll see.
Yeah. Whether that's going to come to fruition, we'll see. But some of the other stuff,
and he makes some promises in order to get the 2 votes he needs.
Yeah, some promises
based on that.
Yeah,
assumption.
Some promises that I'm
give
not.
You my word.
They didn't convince me that he was going to hold up on those. So we'll see what happens with that. But some of the other stuff that took place in these 2 episodes, so
cut in on that real quick. Shout out to Peggy in our YouTube comments. I think she watched the episode and then commented on our preview channel. She said when he gave his swearing-in speech, he didn't say
so help me God.
So help me God.
I thought he did,
though. He didn't, because I had to go back and watch it because he made a point when Jamie was sworn in. When Jamie finished, he chimed in and said, "So help me God." Ooh. And Jamie looked at him and then said, "So help me God." So he made Jamie say it, but then he didn't say it himself.
And you went back and watched his inauguration. He 100% didn't say it.
He 100% didn't say it.
Good catch, Peggy.
And
Thank you for that.
Yeah, great catch. Amazing little Easter egg there. Maybe something comes of that. Maybe something doesn't. I have another one I want to talk about, but we can talk about it.
I responded to that comment. Does that make his inauguration like null and void?
I don't think so.
Like if shit hit the fan and he had to get out of it, could he just be like, well, I never said it, so help me God?
I don't think it's a requirement anymore per se because, separation of church and state. So like you could swear on a Quran or a Bible or anything you want when you're doing testimony in court. And you could do the same thing, I guess, when swearing in. Like
that shit
it wouldn't make
I don't understand our like legal system, just on a little side note, because like I don't believe in anything. So that's one thing. But like what criminal is going to be like, fuck, I got to swear on a Bible now. I'm fucked. They really got me. If I'm in court for anything, I'd be like, yeah, sure, I swear. And I'm just going to lie about everything anyway. It's like, that's such a dumb premise to me. I never understood it, never will.
I, John Dutton,
do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
To uphold the Constitution of the United States.
To uphold the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Montana.
And the Constitution of the State of Montana.
Against all enemies.
Outside of the gubernatorial shit. And that is the major one is that Monica, who is magically and perhaps divinely 9 months pregnant, is having some early labor pains,
Mm-hmm.
and she's told by Casey to go just start driving to the hospital. I'm gonna have an ambulance meet you halfway. Fortunately for her, she doesn't make it halfway, and there is a cartoonish car crash, as you mentioned. She's driving fast. She's distracted from her chest pains. There's another driver who's grabbing for a fucking bag of chips.
Distracted.
And they're
Two
just
distracted drivers.
Yeah, and
Distressed. Yeah.
two distracted and distressed drivers, and then just a buffalo so happens to like be just meandering through the road. And there's an accident, and unfortunately,
she gets thrown like 150
yeah,
feet from
she
the
just
car.
gets tossed out of the fucking car. Tate's all fucked up. And unfortunately, the baby, the unborn baby, is killed, and we find out through Tate that they named it John. So yes, John Dutton did die in this episode. So rest in peace, John. That was really the only other major event. There was some other little stuff involving Rip. Rip, as you alluded to, Rip is kind of, he's foreseeing the fact that like John is probably stretching himself a little too thin, and this could see a bad outcome for the ranch. And then the as far as I'm concerned, the only other major little plot point that was touched on was our boys Ryan and Colby were tasked with hunting some wolves that that Rip thought was attacking their cattle. Colby was saying, Ryan was saying this wasn't fucking wolves. Let's get Casey out here. And Rip's like, I'm not going to fucking bother Casey with what he's going through. Just find these fucking wolves and kill them. Well, they're fucking pitched up on some mountain with
thermal imaging.
Yeah, with thermal scopes. And they see a pack of wolves come and they shoot them all. Unfortunately for them, these are tagged wolves from the park.
Yes, yes.
And that is apparently a big no-no.
Mm-hmm.
Federal crime, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And the three of them
They're protected.
Yeah, they cook up some scheme to take off their collars, attach them to some fucking driftwood, and toss them into the river. Because apparently if they stop moving for a matter of time, then the fucking squad is called onto that location to figure out what's going on. So they're trying to get out of that. What's going to come of that, I'm not really sure. I feel like they could have just easily called Casey and been like, hey, could you handle this real quick? Like, we know you lost a child, but like, we're up Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Overall, honestly, these first two episodes, not really that great for a season premiere, in my opinion.
12 million viewers.
Yeah.
Biggest opening for them.
Yeah,
It's
Marvin
huge.
had messaged us and said they broke a record.
Yeah. So I thought it wasn't as great as it could be. I thought last season opener was way better.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was like...
this was, it's hard to top. This one, I don't know. There were some scenes that made me curious. Another one I want to talk about is when they found the cow, right? They're like, oh, wolves got into it. And he's like, I don't know that cow died by
like what was it, fucking
wolves.
aliens? Like,
Well, and they were, did this, did that. And he's like, yeah, okay.
He said
And
the
then,
wolves
like,
ate it specifically, but not necessarily
Sure.
killed it. We need to call Casey and have him come out
And
here.
you're like, yeah, I wonder. And then I was thinking back about, how the cows got poisoned from the Beck brothers when they dropped the dirty hay.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the end, like, you get this weird
Flashback, yeah.
John Dutton fighting the EPA and stuff's getting poisoned. And I'm like, okay, is there a correlation there?
There
make
must
something
be.
out of that.
There's got to be something, because there's no
that
reason.
was really weird. Like,
Yeah.
into the episode. I mean, it shows he's always been fighting the government and trying just to protect his land and protect, everything on it. And even when the government comes and said, oh, this is storyboarding.
Well, I can't imagine that's a coincidence that Ryan was like, nah, I don't think this was wolves. And then they flash back to that thing. So I am sure that there's going to be some trials and tribulations. Listen, speculatively, I think that the way this season is going to play out is there's going to be some sort of ranch specific issue that they're going to have to deal with, without John being involved.
Yes.
I think that's what these 2 episodes were setting up, is that John will not be able to do both things at once, and
Yep, I
unfortunately,
agree.
he's going to have to devote to the governor shit. Yeah, maybe he'll pop in here and there, and eventually that'll lead to him fucking up on the governor end. But this is going to be 2 very independent things, which is going to cause some issues. I think that was probably the setup for it. But in total, I don't really know this. I didn't think that this was I didn't think this was the strongest like season opener, not just for this show,
No.
but just for shows in general. Really, like usually you would expect your season premiere to come out swinging, and I mean, you know, obviously there's a lot of stuff that it's dealing with and setting up, so maybe that's why it felt a little bit. It just felt a little bit
Yep.
slow and boring, to be honest with you. And when I say boring, like I wasn't disinterested. It just like it didn't set anything up that I'm like super excited for just yet for the remainder of the season. Of course, I love the show. I'm going to watch the rest of the season, obviously, and we're covering it each week. But yeah,
What is Casey's vision quest?
I have no idea.
He's got to make a choice.
Well, yeah, right. But last season ended it like in a different way, like very specifically. I saw the end of us, and now here she's, and that leaves you with like, oh shit, like he saw what's gonna happen, something's gonna play out, something fucked up. Okay, well now she's asking him like, oh, how did we end in your vision? And he's like, oh, I didn't see. Like, he says some dumb shit.
I didn't see. Well, no, she asked if this would be the end of us.
Yeah,
because you know they lost the baby.
mm-hmm.
And there was a sad summer scene there too, because you know Tate's like, I want another brother.
Well,
and
here
he's
comes
like,
the
Tate wants
backtrack.
another one.
The backtrack is he says, I didn't see how we end. I just saw that we end, and I won't let that happen. It's like it felt like a backtrack.
Well, he said I have to make a choice, and I'm not going to make that choice.
Right. Meaning,
so I think maybe what he saw is that he has to choose between his family or the ranch, because we've seen what the ranch has cost his family.
That's not how I took it.
And so because he already walked away once, like he obviously hated his dad for a long time because of what he told him to do.
Right.
But
I didn't take it that way, and maybe I'm just not catching it. But again, last season it seemed very specific that he saw a specific series of events that was going to lead to their downfall.
Which I thought, I mean, if you go back and think about it, when he was looking out, they were like, you know, look right there, but then look a little further down. Like that was a choice diversion, maybe. Like
it just seemed like the way he addressed it in this one was like, yeah, like of course, like I don't even know how to explain it. It just seemed like very nonchalant, like it wasn't as big of a deal as it was made out to be in the last season. Of like, this was a very straightforward outcome that was gonna happen, that he was like clearly distraught over when he like discovered it, and now he was just like, oh yeah, no, like we're only gonna end if I choose to end, and I'm never gonna do that. That was kind of his like answer, the way I took it anyway.
Yeah, I guess we did see it because I kind of interpreted it as he saw 2 paths and he has to choose one.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right. I'm not arguing that. I mean, I hope that's what it is. I mean, I don't want to see them like build up this plot point to just not pay it off. That would be silly. But yeah, I mean, I'm still excited for the rest of the season. I'm curious to see where it goes. We got a newcomer this season, and
Sarah Atwater.
She's the Beth equivalent that works for Market Equities. So she's coming in. She's probably going to give Beth a run for her money. And we'll see what happens. One little point while we're talking about Beth. I'm kind of sick of Beth. I was saying this like throughout the episodes. She's really fucking getting annoying. Like, I get it. She's tough. She has this trauma that she's carried with her. But it's like, she was always a fucking bitch, even as a kid. And they're showing it very specifically. Her and Rip.
Yeah, we actually got
interacting
a Beth arc where
interacting as children.
She's remorseful.
And then she's remorseful to him, and she's like, I'm really sorry how I treated you. I robbed us of like all this time we could have had. And he's like, yeah, it's whatever. He's like, you were a piece of shit to me, but it's like, whatever, we're here now. But it's like, she was always a bitch. And the whole thing is that, like, you know, her issue with Jamie is clearly the fact that like he took her to this fucking abortion clinic that fucked her up for life. She's not able to have children. Like, that's her beef with him. And then she throws in his face that he's not like a birth family member and all this other stuff.
Rightfully, she should hate him. Like, I don't know.
I mean,
This is one of those where they like Succession, where they suck it up. Family first. We kind of hate each other, but it's family first. We don't betray the family. And he's betrayed the family a couple times.
Listen.
And she wants him dead for it.
and again, rightfully so for a little bit, but like, all right, enough for like, let's move on already. And then the rest of her,
one
like,
of them is gonna kill each other. I hope that happens.
and then the rest of her bitchiness throughout her life is because like her mom was like mean to her. Okay, I get it. You have a trauma, but it's like enough already with Beth. Like, she's fucking annoying me now. I don't know. I'm just like, okay, we get it. Like, we get you, Beth. You're tough and you're scary and you don't take shit. Okay, cool. I like her as a character still, but like,
she's a brilliant tactician. Though,
yeah, no,
too.
for sure,
Like,
she is.
She's
yeah.
playing 3D chess with some of the biggest, hedge
she
fund
is.
corporations in the world, and she's just taking them down.
Listen, and I appreciate the fact that she's she doesn't take shit from anybody.
She's a fucking shark.
Especially in the environment that she's in, this corporate world that's like dominated by men. Like, I love that she doesn't take shit from anybody. I think now, like I said, she's starting to not give John great advice, specifically just to fucking counteract what Jamie says.
Yeah, she's so blinded by her hatred to him
Mm-hmm.
that she will dismiss sound advice from him. But that's not to say that John didn't hear it.
I don't know. I hope we see the family stuff get like. That's when I say she's annoying. Like, I'm tired of like the squabbling and stuff. It's like, at the end of the day, it's your brother. He made a mistake. He was a kid, and like he was in a situation that he didn't really fully know how to deal with. It's like, get over it already. He was a child.
Yeah.
Forgive the guy.
But hey, Beth is a shark. You can't be surprised when a shark does shark things.
Let us know in the comments, folks, what you thought of these first 2 episodes of Yellowstone Season 5, the premiere. We're going to be here covering it every week. So if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel, and you can hit the bell button so you're notified when our Yellowstone videos drop each week. And you could let us know in the comments and get involved in the discussion. We have set up a Yellowstone playlist to keep everything nice and neat, and you can click on that right over there. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Hasta.